their spine and talk to the president about what he needs to do for the good of the country. Anderson?
Jake, thanks very much. We have never seen really, other than, well, I don't think we've ever seen this from a president of the United States. And I think, as Jake said, it's sad and it is truly pathetic. And of course it is dangerous. And of course it will go to courts. But you'll notice the president did not have any evidence presented at all. Nothing. No real, actual evidence of any kind of fraud. He talked about people putting up papers in windows. He talked about things that he'd seen on the internet. That is the president of the United States. That is the most powerful person in the world. And we see him like an obese turtle on his back, flailing in the hot sun, realizing his time is over. But he just hasn't accepted it, and he wants to take everybody down with him, including this country. Gloria?
You know, I think that the world is watching, and they're watching an American president undermine democracy in the United States. It's painful to those of us who love America. It is painful and dangerous what he's doing. It is not surprising, of course, because he told us early on that if he didn't win, he was going to say the election was rigged, and maybe we didn't believe he would come out and do it in this way. But it is still startling to us to just hear the president from a podium in the White House undermine democracy. And as Jake was saying before, I have to keep saying, if this was such a big plot by Democrats, why didn't they do better? Why didn't they do better in the House? Why didn't they do better in the Senate? So the president makes himself the ultimate victim here. Over and over again, it's about him. And it's not about the fact that the other Republicans did okay. It's about him, and his family is complaining. Why isn't everybody coming out and defending him? Why isn't Lindsey Graham coming out and defending him? Because a lot of Republicans, it is time for them to say enough is enough.
Rick Santorum?
No Republican elected official is going to stand behind that statement. I mean, none of them will. They will stand behind elements of that statement. They will stand behind his comment about the polling and how you could make the argument that it was suppression and dishonest. I mean, you can stand behind the lack of transparency when it came to allowing the votes to be counted. There's evidence of that, and he provided some evidence for that. There are certain things they will stand behind in that statement because they reflect the reality. But much of that statement was not factual and was at times incendiary and not something that President of the United States should say or any elected officials.
You said
unless you have evidence to prove it, and at this point in time we don't, and we won't until there is an investigation as to what happened. And I got to tell you, I sat there and I listened to him talking about the votes being taken away from him, and then he shifted to Arizona and said, hey, I win this thing if they count the votes. Well, how can you say, well, we have to wait and count the votes in Arizona and I can win this thing, we're making it, but if you count the votes in Philadelphia, you're stealing them. The reality is in Pennsylvania, Democrats voted by mail and Republicans voted by in person. And it's because you asked them to do so. And so I think most people, hopefully, I just encourage people to listen, because I know there's a lot of people who think this election is stolen. A lot of people think there is fraud. And you know what? There may be fraud. There may be we don't know that right now. And for the president to go out there and claim that without any evidence of that is dangerous. And I just would say to the president, there may be some validity in some of the things that you believe, but to go out there and suggest that this is rigged, or that counting votes in my home state by clerks all over 67 counties, and as you kept losing votes, was somehow rigged. No, Democrats voted by mail. Yeah. That's why your lead went away. Had they voted in person, you would be in the same position we are right now. So, it's just.